quality, cost-efficient cemetery services to the public, bereaved families, and the bereavement services industry. We administer, maintain, and operate cemeteries in accordance with provincial and municipal legislation, our bylaws, policies, procedures, standards, and regulations. Through this process, we identify the following cemetery service goals. We strive to continually develop and improve existing cemetery grounds, our buildings based on consumer needs. We ensure the services evolve to reflect the needs of the public, the changing trends, and the cultural diversity. Through this process, we looked at a number of issues. The first and most important being the demographics of the city of Niagara Falls, as well as the internment trends. 2 points I'd like to make. In 2002, 1 in 8 Canadians was aged 65 or older. By 2026, that number will climb considerably to 1 in 5 Canadians. Our consumers that we need to consider include the veterans or the traditionalists, baby boomers, Gen Xers, and Gen Ys. As you can see, our service spans over 4 generations. Interment trends are often dictated by religious beliefs and cultural practices of these generations. Practices of the traditional in-ground burials has declined in the last 20 years. Demand for alternative interment options, such as cremations and green burials, is on the rise. In 1980, cremations were only 10% of the market. In 2010, they had increased to 52%. And in looking at the trend for the future, we are considering green alternatives such as green burials. The chart that you see before you here is a 30-year comparison of total deaths in the city of Niagara Falls, including total burials, full burials, and cremain burials. As I previously mentioned, in 1980, only 10% of the market were cremains, and that is indicated by the baby blue columns. Whereas if you look in 2010, that number has increased substantially, and as previously indicated, is over 52%. This analysis was provided to us through Lees and Associates, who conducted a peer review of our original report. And in this graph, it further demonstrates the various markets. The total deaths are delineated by the yellow line. The red line is the casket market. The blue line is the casket capture. And so if you take a look at that, the blue line sits substantially below the red line. And this is something that we'll touch upon a little bit later when we're talking about marketing and capturing more of that market. If we look at the cremation market, the green line indicates the market, and the orange line indicates how many cremations we've captured here through the City of Niagara Falls Cemetery Services. Again, something that we'll be discussing a little bit later. The Cemetery Service Delivery Review was developed to identify and respond to each of the following components: revenue generation, marketing and promotion, customer service, operation efficiencies, provincial legislation and cemetery bylaws, and as well as development that we'll also discuss later. The process that we worked through, we involved the staff. We had a staff meeting. As previously mentioned, our report was reviewed by Lees and Associates landscape architects, whom have a wealth of experience in the cemetery industry. We met with senior staff. We conducted a presentation to the bereavement industry, which leads us here this evening to a presentation. The following slides will provide a summary of the recommendations of the Cemetery Service Delivery Review process. With respect to provincial legislation, back on July 1st, 2012, the Funeral, Burial, and Cremation Services Act was implemented, which presents a number of changes for us in the cemetery industry. With respect to abandoned cemeteries, we asked the council petition the Ministry of Consumer Services to audit all abandoned cemeteries, be it private, pioneer, church, within the municipal boundaries, with the expectation that the ministry staff will work with the cemetery owners to determine and or establish appropriate record-keeping and care and maintenance funds. With respect to property assessment, as per the Assessment Act, the abandoned cemeteries that we ask that they pay the amount into the cemetery care and maintenance fund, the equivalent of any tax payment as assessed that would otherwise be payable. Just a quick note, the reason why we are providing these is we are handed numerous cemeteries. This is how we now have 14 pioneer cemeteries. With a cemetery is accompanied by a care and maintenance fund. However, what's happened is we receive these cemeteries with very little money to care and maintain them in the long term. And finally, with respect to our cemetery bylaws, we are currently working on updating and improving our cemetery bylaws to be more in line with legislation, and a separate report will be presented to Council in the very near future. Revenue generation was one of the key factors of this report. Each year, the City of Niagara Falls Cemetery Services operates on a deficit between $500,000 and $700,000 annually. Obviously, because of that, we looked at all of our revenue opportunities, and we provided the following recommendations: to pursue various product and service sales options for the purpose of revenue generation. An analysis of each item should include the proposed revenue versus administration and operation costs to provide the product. We recommended that we pursue the potential partnership opportunities with the local bereavement industry that will be financially beneficial to all, that we determine the best model, be it cooperation or competition in moving forward, and that we increase our fees progressively to meet industry standards and or to reach a break-even point of operation. Through the peer review, Lees and Associates examined each of our recommendations, and the one that they felt was most important for immediate implementation was the increase in fees, the development or the change in our fee schedule. Our Council recommendation at this point is that we approve an incremental fee increase at a minimum of 30% for lot sales and at a minimum of 55% for interment services over a one-year period starting in July 2013. The following slides will provide additional information as to why we are recommending that. These numbers were provided through the peer review. It's a cost comparison. Lees and Associates surveyed 11 municipalities throughout southern Ontario. Some of these numbers are quite intimidating, and so what I've done is highlighted what we feel are the most important, the ones that we should be paying the most attention to, and that's highlighted by the red box. The adult two-grave plots, we are 32% below industry standard. Niche sales, again, 32% below industry standard. Cremation lot, adult three-grave plots, columbarium, niche, and interment sales, we are 30% to 25% below industry standard. Now, one point I'd like to make is keep in mind these were 11 municipalities throughout southern Ontario, including Oshawa. Some were smaller municipalities, some were much larger. So we wanted to take a look at this at a more regionally significant, take a more regionally significant approach. And the following two slides depict our fee schedule price increases based on lot sales and interment services. We've used St. Catharines as our measuring scale, if you will, because their cemetery operations are so similar to ours, and they are a similarly sized municipality. So with respect to our present day costs, comparing Niagara Falls to the city of St. Catharines, our adult single lot currently costs $1,070, whereas St. Catharines currently charges $1,239. The proposed fee increase of 30% over the next year would bring our fees up to $1,424. Keep in mind, St. Catharines will also be increasing their fees over the next year by 3%. So while it appears that we would actually be above industry standard, we would almost be on par at that time, which is the goal. Our adult two-lot plot, three-lot plot, and columbarium niche, again, we are increasingly low compared to St. Catharines, especially when we get down to the cremation plot, where our present day cost right now is $540. St. Catharines, on the other hand, is charging $1,195. So with respect to the cremation plots, we've actually proposed a 60% increase over the next year, which we would still be below industry standards, but we would be in a much better place. Further to that, with respect to our interment services, this table is broken down a little bit differently. While it does provide the cost comparison between Niagara Falls and St. Catharines, What we've also provided here is the cost to complete the interment service. So the cost to the city to pay our staff, to pay for the rental of the equipment, to pay for the gas to power that equipment, to pay for the overhead of our buildings. So if we look at a few of these, our current price for an adult casket burial is $1,050, where the cost to the city is currently $1,433. The proposed increase of 54% over a one-year period would bring our fee up to $1,528, which would mean at that point we are just over the breaking even period. I'll skim down to the bottom. Our niche opening cost is currently, we charge $226 to open and close a niche, and that includes having staff on site for the duration of the service and to maintain Stamford Columbarium or our Columbarium in Maple Grove. So the cost of the city is $303. St. Catharines currently charges $400. By July 1st, 2014, we expect our cost to be $329, which, as you can see, we will just be over the breaking even period. So with respect to revenue generation, obviously the first thing that we think of is increasing our fees. However, we also have to keep in mind how we can draw more people into the cemetery, how we can encourage people to use our cemetery service and inform people of our different cemetery services. And through that, we've identified the need to develop a marketing strategy. So our recommendation today is to prepare a marketing strategy that will address various modes of communication, be it through newsletters, brochures, the web page, Facebook, special interest focus groups, etc., etc. Beyond that, we recommend that we develop a marketing plan to identify methods to best target each demographic market and promote specific cemetery services and events. So what you'll see on the screen at this point are some of the advertisements that are actually used through Toronto cemeteries, surrounding cemeteries. Some are both municipal and private. So in this instance, it depicts a gentleman with a piano over his head, and the importance, obviously what they're depicting here is the importance of pre-planning. The second, again, this is something that you'll see in some of the Toronto newspapers. Don't get caught without your plot. On a regular basis, Toronto cemeteries and local cemeteries are now finding it necessary to promote cemetery services so that people come in and deal with the pre-need sales. So they make their arrangements in advance, that they purchase their plot for their family, and that they're not having to deal with this at the worst point of their lives. Again, this was something that we discovered and we modified it for ourselves. Hey, it's your funeral. That's why you should talk to us for rate services call. Very simple advertising, but they send a message and they draw people into the cemeteries. The graph that I'm presenting here further speaks to the importance of marketing and promotion. We have three and a half spikes on this. This is a lot cremation and niche sale comparison. The blue spikes are the high sales times, the times that we've drawn the most people into the cemetery and sold exceptional numbers of plots. At one point, it was the opening of Section 10 and 11 at Fairview. Another was the opening of Section G at Lundy's Lane. And finally, the addition of 100 new plots at Lundy's Lane. The point that I'm trying to make here is we've only marketed our cemetery services thus far at very specific points of the year when we have new products and new services available. The part of the marketing plan, what that would provide us is a sustained push to promote and educate people about our cemetery services, thereby bringing more people through our doors. This is a graph that I've shown you previously, but I wanted to bring it back, and I've added two arrows here. Again, the first depicts the cremation capture versus the cremation market, which is the larger arrow here. What we're capturing as far as the cremation market is not enough, and we need to market and promote our services in order to capture a higher percentage of that market. The other is with respect to the casket market and the casket capture. Again, this is the role of marketing and promotions for the City of Niagara Falls Cemetery Services. Further to that, we already excel at customer service. On a regular basis, we receive compliments about the beauty and the care that we have for our cemeteries. but we are always looking to improve that. So we've made the following recommendations with respect to customer service. The first is to develop and distribute surveys to families that have recently utilized city cemetery services to identify efficiencies and perhaps deficiencies, and to notify of changes in services and products, such as the columbaria, our new family flower bed program, and the potential for the development of new sections in our cemeteries. These customer surveys would be available at Fairview Cemetery offices, over the phone, online, and of course on the city's webpage. Further, through customer service, we also recommend the renovation of our Fairview offices to improve accessibility for privacy and privacy for users, such as the families, as well as a working environment and with respect to safety and efficiency for our administrative staff and for our employees. Renovations will also include improvements to the staff lunch and locker room, which will ultimately separate the two activities. The following illustration depicts the office as it currently is. To the right and the top right, those are areas that do not exist, and that is what we are recommending that we add on to our existing offices. New legislation, as I mentioned, passed in July 1st of 2012. Part of that legislation dictates that we have a private meeting space for families so that we can help them plan for their arrangements in a private or secluded area. The top right corner of our building is where we've suggested that building or that renovation take place. This is what our office currently looks like. It is cold, it is outdated, and we've made recommendations that we open the space up, we make it more warm, more inviting, more suitable for families who are coming in, dealing with, as I've said, one of the worst days of their lives. As previously mentioned, the top right-hand corner is the proposed private meeting room. The center section of this plan is currently storage, and we've recommended that it become the lead hand office space so that we may operate more efficiently. This is the current location of our lead hand. He is packed in with a photocopier as well as all of our storage, and it is a main hallway through the offices. This is the area that depicts what we would like to turn into the lead hand office. And finally, we've proposed that some of the storage of the current facility be turned into a staff locker room. Our staff currently, this is the location, and our staff currently eat and clean and store all of their uniforms and materials in the same room. So you can imagine by the end of the day, after a day full of rain with mud, this room is rather filthy and not ideally suited for eating conditions. Through the Cemetery Service Delivery Review, we also looked at our cemetery operations to determine operating efficiencies. The following were identified as potential improvements. Employee succession planning. We propose to review current and future operational and administrative needs and create a succession plan. With respect to our cemetery staff, our goal is to implement a two-team approach. We would have two lead hands, both focused on operations and maintenance. They would split the duties, and each would be responsible for a given number of staff. And finally, we've proposed that we look at flexible and extended work hours, and that we implement them on a trial basis beginning in August to accommodate both operations and the needs of our customers. This is our proposed organizational work chart. Working from the top down, we have Cynthia Roberts, our Manager of Parks and Cemetery Services. My role is Cemetery Services Administrator. We have a seasonal gardener, two cemetery clerks. As mentioned, we would have two lead hands, both focused on operations and maintenance. One is currently vacant that we are in the process of filling. And then below that, we have our backhoe operator, two cemetery attendants/truck drivers, one cemetery attendant, a full-time laborer, and 10 seasonal/casual or students. As I mentioned, each lead hand would exchange the different roles and responsibilities on a daily basis with respect to operations and ground maintenance. They would have teams with respect to openings and closings of niches, of plots, of lots, and they would also be responsible for the daily care and maintenance of our cemetery, including mowing the lawn, planting the gardens, trimming the trees, everything that is associated with seasonal care of our cemeteries. And finally, through our cemetery services review, we've developed the recommendation that we try on a trial basis extended work hours. We've proposed that we try this in August. The extended work hours would include working an additional shift from 4 until 8 on Tuesday and Thursday nights. The reason why we've suggested this is currently there are a number of people that have loved ones cremated. They take their cremations home, they take their loved ones home, they put them on the mantle, they'll put them in the closet. In some cases, they forget about them. By offering hours from 4 to 8, we are allowing those people who work regular work hours to come into the cemetery. It gives them an additional opportunity to learn what services we offer, and it gives them an additional opportunity to bring their loved one to Fairview and have them laid to rest at the cemetery. Further to that, we are recommending that we keep the cemetery open on Saturdays, a regular work day from 8 until 4. We have been asked this not only from the bereavement industry, but from the numbers of people that have to pay that currently have to pay the overtime fee when they inter a loved one on the Saturday. As most of you know, the number of people that work Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, exceeds the number of people that are working on Saturdays. We'd like to make our services available for anybody and everybody, and make it provide them as much of a solution as possible in this most difficult time of their life. Some key points, as I previously mentioned, not only have we spent the last 2 years working on this cemetery service delivery review, but it was also put forth to Lees and Associates, who have over 90 years of experience in the cemetery industry, and they conducted a peer review. And some of the points that they mentioned I thought were important for me to highlight at the end of this first segment of the presentation. The City of Niagara Falls Cemetery Services should expect to accommodate approximately 22,000 deaths within the next 25 years. The City of Niagara Falls pre-need to at-need ratio in the years 2009 through 2011 is higher than most cemeteries our firm has worked with. Keep in mind, this firm has worked with cemeteries in Canada, United States, the United Kingdom, and Africa. Expenses, as we all know, are largely labor-related. Labor expenses pay for quality staff. Quality staff begets a robust organization and happy customers. Hence the importance of balancing costs with service expectations. Improving interment and memorialization services to attract families that have chosen cremation. And it's for this very reason that we are offering, or would like to offer, the extended hours on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Over the last 5 years, the City of Niagara Falls Care and Maintenance Trust Funds have earned an average return of 5.2% versus the Ontario average of 3.20%. This is a wonderful opportunity for us moving forward when we start to talk about the development and expansion of our cemeteries. When we are able to bring more people into our cemeteries and increase our care and maintenance, our care and maintenance funds, these numbers reflect the importance of doing that. Cemeteries are one of the very few public goods provided by local government that brings at least a modicum of revenue. However, this does not necessarily mean that there is sufficient revenue to make a profit, or for that matter, break even. Movement towards a break-even position is a realistic long-term goal. In moving towards cost recovery, the City of Niagara Falls needs to set cemetery prices commensurate with the actual and the perceived value of the services and products being purchased. So that concludes the first half of the presentation, or the first 3/4 of the presentation. And now, if you'll bear with me, I'll open the second portion with respect to development.
Okay. Mr. Richardson, I'm just getting some advice from our clerk. Because our in-camera meeting went a little bit long, we just need to move things around just a little bit, if you could bear with me.
Absolutely.
As exciting as this stuff is, so we've got to maybe just jig things a little bit. Mr. Clerk, what would you suggest that we do at this point?
I'd
suggest that you go into the pre-assigned scheduled presentations and deputations. The planning item shouldn't take too long, and then we can go back to the report.
Okay. Okay, can you bear with us?
I can.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilor Morocco. Yeah, if you could, maybe write them down and just so that you'll remember that. We do have a group of people that are waiting outside for recognition, so maybe somebody can let them know that this would be a good time for them to come inside. For the Niagara Daredevils under 12. You guys can come right down this way, actually, if you want to. We're going to maybe first ask your coaches to come down. Sarah Riley, Karen Brazo, Kyle Grew, and Jolene Adamo. Are they here? So first we'll bring up the coaches, then we'll call you ladies up one at a time. Hello? Sarah?
I'm Karen.
Karen, welcome. Okay, nice to meet you. All right, I didn't figure that one out. Well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a special opportunity tonight as part of our agenda. We're going to be recognizing some local athletes. And as I understand, the Niagara Falls Daredevils under 12 Ringette Provincial Championship. And this is the official banner here, so we're probably going to do a team picture in a second. Once we, let me read through this. I'll give you a little bit of background so you'll understand what they did, and then we can acknowledge them, give them their little bit of hardware, and maybe the coaches can say a few words after that. It'll give you time to think about it. To start of the season, the Niagara Falls Daredevils under 12 Ringette team set their goals to be the middle of the pack. They didn't set the goals too high, okay? However, in the first half of the season, they far surpassed their original goal. In regular league play, Golden Horse from Toronto areas ended up with 7 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. On top of that, they had a gold medal in a tournament in Nepean with a perfect game record. That's outside Ottawa. During the second half of the season, they opted to play only upper-level teams. They did quite well. When they did have a loss, it was usually by only 1 goal. At both the Burlington and Richmond Hill tournaments, they brought home silver medals. Only tournament play decided, they would proceed to the provincials against some of the top teams in all of Ontario. On their first day at the provincial championships in Oshawa, they beat Ottawa 2-1 and Mississauga 3-2. The second day, they had a 3-2 loss to Ayr and a 6-3 loss to Cambridge. Despite the 2 losses, their round-robin record allowed them to go straight to the final game. In the final game, they played against Mississauga, a very strong team with the same number of wins and losses as Niagara. The entire team came together and beat Mississauga 4-2. We'd like to collectively congratulate the Niagara Falls Daredevil under 12 Ringette team on their provincial championship. Would one of you like to call up the players?
Sure.
I've got the list right there,
Sure.
and I can give them the hardware, and then you can say some words out.
Okay, great. All right. First up, we have our goalie, Grace Beach.
Great. Congratulations.
And her sister, Riley. Talia. Addie. Sierra. Sage. McKenna. Nikki. Look, all the players that are here, but we do have quite a few missing due to other sports and school commitments tonight, but we'll be sure and take an award for them as well.
Yes, and I see some of the medals. You've got one
Yeah.
around your shirt there, so you can see these are the ringettes. Can the camera see that? There's the Ringette Provincial Championship from the Ontario Ringette Association. Well done. And maybe just give us a little quick synopsis of how it went briefly, and we'll give you the extra hardware for those that couldn't be here.
Well, we had a fantastic year, like you mentioned in the highlights from the email that we sent you. The most important thing I'd like to mention about this group of girls is they came together at provincials. They peaked at the right time. They worked so hard leading up to provincials. The way Ringette works is the season ends and there's quite a gap up until provincials. So we added extra ice time. They worked really hard. They all perfected the skills they've been working on all year, and it all came together. By the time we got to the final, it was like a light went off, and they truly believed in themselves, and that was definitely the difference.
Awesome. Well done.
They took it home for Niagara. We're very proud of them.
Very good. Well, what do you say we do a group picture, and then
We'd also like to thank the City of Niagara Falls for allowing us to use their facility, and we're very proud to wear Niagara Falls on our jerseys when we were representing the city.
we're proud to have you wear Niagara Falls. I'll gather around there. Okay, so we're good. And, excuse me, great job, ladies. And on behalf of council, we're very, very proud of you. And we've got these extra trophies as well that you can share with the rest of the teammates. So we can give these to you to take with you. So thanks very much. Did you guys want to see something else? No. Okay, no, that's good. Here's the extra. Yeah, these are for the extra players and for the coaches. Yeah, someone can grab. Thank you very much. Well done. Next up, for our awards tonight are the Niagara Regional Athletics. We've had Ontario Indoor Championships, and I would call the coaches, Kevin Knight, Greg Stewart, and if they would please join me up here as we give out the hardware and recognize the winners.
They're not here, I'll take their place. I'm Randy McDougall.
Oh, okay. Randy, okay, welcome. That's great. So we've got Randy, and maybe if you could maybe, did you want to do the awards? Maybe explain what exactly we're celebrating here, and I'll get ready to handle the hardware.
Oh, okay. Well, Niagara Regional Athletics is a track and field club out of Oaks Park. So again, thank you to the city for allowing us to use Oaks Park. We're here to celebrate some of our athletes who won provincial championships at the Minor Track Association championships this year on April 6th. And we actually had one record breaker as well, which I'll read off as I go through them.
Great.
So we'll start with Victoria Spare, won a gold medal in 3 senior level events, long jump, shot put, and 60-meter hurdle, sorry. Victoria also set a provincial record in the 60-meter hurdle.
Excellent. Well done. Congratulations, Victoria. For you? I'm kind of surprised. I thought you would have done a hurdle over the top of that. That's okay.
Next is Caitlin Ham, won gold in the senior level triple jump and 5th in long jumping. Next up, Sarah Saldudo, sorry if I said that wrong, won gold in the long jump, 4th in 60 meters, and 6th in the 200 meters.
Did you get it right?
Did I get it right this time?
Close.
Yeah. Olivia Gallus won gold in the triple jump and earned silver in both 60 meters and long jump. Emma McDougall captured gold in shot put and bronze in high jump. And finally, Abby Stewart won gold in the 60-meter hurdle, gold in shot put, and bronze in the 400-meter dash.
And the club, I should mention, 39 teams, finished 4th overall.
Well done. Group shot, or just kind of?
Your worship,
Yes,
one in the back row with Karen as well.
Sure, great idea. If you've got a camera and you want to come closer, just come on up. $5 a picture?
Show me your socks, Jim.
Yeah. The guys, I'll show my socks. They're making fun of me. Smile, ladies. Yeah, you're welcome, sir. Excellent. Well, ladies, we're very, very proud of you. We know that it's great. They say busy kids stay out of trouble. So lesson to everybody, stay busy, but this is great. I'm sure your athletics are going to take you far with a lot of different things as you go throughout your career, throughout your life. But we want to let you know that we're very, very proud of you, and we're glad that you represent Niagara the way you do. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now for the next portion of our deputation, I'd like to call on Lou Vizentine. If Lou can join me up here. Yes? Lou Vizentine is the library board chair, and we're here to talk about a bequest of the late Mr. Harvey Huff. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Very good, very good. And I have this certificate, so maybe I'll let you go ahead and let everybody know what it is exactly today that we're acknowledging.
Well, Harvey was a Niagara Falls resident, longtime resident, longtime library person who, in fact, he was a Queen's engineer, okay, which makes this donation that he's given the library for of $100,000 so unusual. He loved to read. He loved the library. He was a kind of Renaissance man. Okay, he was not only a scientist, an engineer, but someone who loved literature, and loved reading, and loved the library. His bequest is really an appropriate thing for the library at this time. Most of you know the library is a real cultural, I'd say a cultural engine. You know, when I came back to Niagara Falls to retire, Mary and I looked for two things. One was a bookstore and the YMCA. You did a great job with the YMCA. We joined the YMCA the first time back. We didn't find a bookstore downtown, although when I was growing up, I think there was maybe one stationery store, Bart. You could probably remember it, okay? Wayne, I'm sure, never went. Okay? But the bookstore, I think there's a bookstore at Niagara Square. But what we do have is a great library. I saw the library. I've been involved in the library at the university level for over 40 years. At the National Research Council with CISTE, the Center for Information and Science and Technology. A terrific library. The libraries are changing. They're becoming a digital thing. We won't need walls, but we'll need a lot of new technology. So this kind of contribution to the endowment in the library is going to stand us in very good stead. You know, as a good administrator, and I'm sure as a good mayor, you don't take endowment and use it for operating. We still need a good operating fund that comes through the city, and I think the city has benefited by having not only a good library, but good librarians, well run, on time, on budget, and for the benefit of people. And this donation by Donald Tusk is really an unusual one. At that level, okay, if I was in the university, I'd be saying Hosanna. I'm saying Hosanna anyway, because I've just come back, and those new library chairs, we have a lot of good new ideas to partner with a number of organizations to make the library even better. But you can all be proud of the library, and you can be proud of the fact that we're going to do some really special things with this donation. So, really, thanks for the support this year. I'm here to not only extol the virtue of Donald Tusk, and I say virtue, okay, here's a man not only of principle, but of honor. You know, as they say, there are many people of principle, but very few of honor. Donald had both, and we're going to benefit at the library, and, you know, benefiting the library, it's going to benefit the city. The importance of leadership, I can't emphasize enough. I remember Bill Clinton talking at a Frank McKenna event in the East Coast, talking about what leadership is all about. It was about creating a future for our children. Investing in the library is investing in the future of our children. I think this is a real good investment by Donald Tusk. I really thank you for this. Was unexpected. I did give greetings to the family from Jim Daddy, okay, and I was pleased to do so, and I was pleased to bring our respect from the city. So thanks very much for having me here.
Well, Lou, thank you very much.
That's what it's about.
And I understand there's some friends here of the Tusk family. Did we have any of them join us here today?
No, we don't.
At the library reception, but they needed to rest.
Okay. Okay. Well, then maybe on the. Oh, fair enough. Well, on behalf of Niagara Falls City Council, Lou, we present the certificate to acknowledge the donation, the generous donation of today that you spoke. We're very, very happy, and I think your words really encapsulated what this really means to the city. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Before Mr. Vizentin goes away, I'd like to welcome him back to town too, Louis. Back around 1953 or 1954, I was catching his fastball. We both played Valley Bantams, and came away with a pretty sore hand. He could really throw a ball. He's also an excellent basketball player. CI, I'm sure Councillor Thompson could remember that as well. And Louis, I want to welcome you back. You've been a great scholar, and to see people like you come back to our city, it certainly is a welcome change to our city. And I just want to say, maybe on behalf of the council, I want to say welcome back, Louis. It's great to see you.
Nice to meet you, Mark.
Well said. Thank you very much. We're very honored to have you back in the city. Thank you. Also, I'd like to mention too that Mr. Harvey Tufts also donated the exact same amount to our Humane Society as well. So it was very generous donation on both fronts. Okay, and we have one more deputation before we can get back to our presentation. We've got the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce. I see we've got Kithio, and we do not have Mr. Senzik, so welcome to the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I take it that turns it on. Great. I do have some additional materials for circulation. I don't know if my handies to Thank you. So we do have a video as well that we will be playing you as we proceed through this. But first and foremost, I wanted to say good evening to members of council. Of course, Mayor Diodati, council, members of city staff. My name, as the mayor introduced me, is Kithio Mwanzi, and I'm the Director of Policy and Government Relations for the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce. Our Chief Executive, Walter Senzik, sends his regrets. He had a commitment that drew him away from being able to present, but I certainly never pass up an opportunity to be in beautiful Niagara Falls, particularly in a wonderful downtown like this. Before I introduce a new campaign to support Niagara's retailers, I'd like to talk about how we got to where we are today and the story behind the campaign. Really, this all started with an article that we saw in the Buffalo News a little over a year ago. In the article, an Erie County official outlined that the county had collected a record $400 million in sales tax and had led to a $26 million budget surplus in that year. They attributed this surplus and this influx to Canadian cross-border shoppers. This was followed by a conversation with last summer with Patty Mills, a franchise owner of a Canadian Tire in Fort Erie, in which she talked about how cross-border shopping was driving down revenues at her store to record lows. And she was at a loss for what could be done to halt a steady decline. And Patty's story is one of hundreds from retailers across Niagara. Patty's story certainly was not isolated to Fort Erie or to her particular location. It's really something that has impacted retailers in every town and city in Niagara. From the small independent retailers to the large corporate operations, retailers in all sectors have felt the impact of the high Canadian dollar and increased exemptions for same-day trips brought in by the Canadian government in last year's budget. The loss of consumer dollars to our U.S. counterparts is having a significant impact on Niagara's economy, and a ripple effect touches all of us. In fact, last year, Niagara had the highest youth unemployment rate at 15.9%, driven largely by a reduction in retail employment hours. So last fall, the Chamber issued a request to those in the marketing field to help develop a campaign to draw attention to the challenges facing the retail sector. As a result, a great team was developed. This brought a considerable amount of knowledge related to consumer habits, marketing design, and the latest developments in consumer marketing. Once we had the origins of a campaign, 180 Marketing, which is a well-known Niagara firm, as well as High Concept Media, another well-known media firm located in Port Colborne, became the drivers of what you will see today. And before we take you through the campaign, I would like to acknowledge and thank a few of our media partners because they have really stepped up in a major way. Those media partners include Astral Media, Sun Media, Niagara This Week, Business Link, and Cogeco. When we approached them to support this campaign, there was no hesitation. As businesses in the marketing industry, they have seen the impact of cross-border shopping and the impact it is having on their clients. As a group, they committed to more than $150,000 worth of advertising to carry this campaign to all points in Niagara, and we are grateful for their support. And of course, a special thank you to our retail hubs here in Niagara. A very special thank you goes out to the Penn Centre, Seaway Mall, Niagara Square, Canadian Tire retailers across the region, and the St. Catharines and Welland Downtown Associations for their support. Now, I would like to take you through the official video that launches the campaign, and if I could request the assistance of the technical team from above. Oh, here we go. So we'll play the video and then be able to provide you additional commentary.
Hi, I'm Joe Critelli, a small business owner here in Niagara.
Hi, I'm Walter Senzik with the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, I'm Paul Cole, Manager of Retail Operations for BB's Basics in Niagara.
Hi, I'm Jessica Friesen, Vice President of Gales Gas Bars.
Growing up in Niagara, it's always been so easy to just pop across the river and maybe pick up a few items and get some gas at the same time. We really never gave it a second thought, but maybe now's the time that we need to give it a second thought. Let's think about the impact on the community.
Last year, the state of New York gained $400 million in new sales tax revenues from out-of-state shoppers coming from Ontario. These dollars could be used for our healthcare system, our education system. In fact, that amount could build a new hospital in South Niagara. And it's also costing us jobs in our community.
Last summer, Niagara's youth unemployment rate was an incredible 15%, one of the highest in the province. This was due to the reduction of sales staff as store owners tried to compete with those lost sales to the U.S. This put much more pressure on our youth, as they try to find employment opportunities to fund college or university.
Lost revenue in our community means fewer dollars for social programs and charitable organizations. Niagara retailers generously give back to the community. However, it's becoming increasingly more difficult to do so.
So you can see spending our dollars across the border does have an impact on our community.
One Less Trip is a campaign to get people to pledge to make one last trip to the U.S. to shop.
By taking the pledge, you're saying that you support local retailers, and you're joining a growing list of individuals that want to make a positive difference in Niagara.
So please join us and others in taking the pledge at onelesstrip.ca.
Or like us on Facebook. Yes, One Less Trip means more for Niagara.
If we could jump back to the slide deck. Thank you. So as you can see, I mentioned our many partners, and this our slide here talks about the many organizations, the many companies that have signed on. And most recently, we had a number of municipalities formally endorse the campaign. The town of Pelham, the city of Welland, the regional municipality of Niagara, and the city of St. Catharines have all endorsed the campaign, and the town of Fort Erie has an endorsement under consideration following a presentation last Monday. The video, the partners, how people can get involved are all featured on the One Less Trip website. It's our belief that an educated consumer is a more powerful consumer, and what One Less Trip tries to do is to educate the consumers, provide them with all of the information so that they're able to make informed decisions. This is a particularly dynamic issue given our proximity to the border and the existing relationships we have as a binational region here in Niagara. And so what we are trying to do through this campaign is to simply indicate that this isn't about not going cross-border, this isn't about building strong business relationships cross-border. This is about considering the intensity with which one makes purchasing habits cross-border. Ultimately, our relationships remain strong with our American partners, and in response to their membership on that side, similar campaigns have been developed. And so as we look at how we educate the consumer on this side of the border, One Less Trip campaign tries to equip everyone with all of the important facts. So we are here tonight before council to ask for your endorsement of One Less Trip, and for each councillor to consider taking the One Less Trip pledge. And the question is always, what can you do as a council? What can you do as councillors? Of course, officially endorse the campaign as a council. And we're meeting with councils across Niagara asking for the endorsement, as I mentioned. As well, you are all leaders in your community. So please consider taking the pledge by going to the website onelesstrip.ca, as well as spreading the word when you're out and about that One Less Trip means more for Niagara. And I'm happy to take any questions related to the presentation.
Great, thank you very much. First up, we've got Councillor Gates and Councillor Morocco. TCO, how are you? It's always a pleasure to see you come to Niagara Falls. First of all, I'd like to say that I certainly welcome the fact that we want to take One Less Trip. I try to, other than going to see a Sabre or a Viking game, I very seldom go over the river. But I think it's bigger than that, quite frankly. I think it's not just the fact of One Less Trip. I think we should all commit to supporting local businesses on a daily basis, whether that be with our local farmers, our local businesses that are struggling, who at the end of the day end up employing our kids. You talk about the unemployment rate in Niagara. It's one of the highest in the country. It goes between 15% and 24%. And if you imagine if we just stayed home and shopped locally, how many more of our kids who are trying to go to university, get an education, would have jobs. I think it'd be a great way to go about it. So I certainly endorse this. One thing that's concerning to me is that at a time that we're saying let's support Canadian jobs, shop local, levels of our government are saying spend more in the States, and cutting back on the tourism coming this way. So some of that doesn't make sense either, but I certainly endorse this. I'll give you my commitment that, I'll put a motion forward to support it. I'll give you my commitment. You don't have to worry me taking one less. I will do that, for sure. If it means just not going to a different, maybe you have to cheer for the Leafs, that might be tough. At the end of the day. But one thing that's gonna help your campaign, I really believe, and I think, you probably see it already, if you're talking to local businesses, is the Canadian dollar's gone from $1.02, $1.03, down to the current 95 cents. They're now saying that dollar will probably stay around 95 cents, throughout the summer. So that may help, because obviously that's one of the reasons why some of the consumers are going over the river. So I commend you on this, but I really would like to see you expand the program. And this is, I've been on council now close to 3 years, I guess. I've stood up here a number of times to say, you know what, we should be spending our tax dollars locally, supporting local businesses, local contractors, all that kind of stuff. And I'll give you an example, is the new police headquarters that's going to be built right here in Niagara Falls. On the list of potential contractors, none are local. You know, two organizations, a very strong organization, does great work. I know me and you have talked many, many times. Maybe that's something else that we could take a look at too. Let's really put this to work. Let's put Canadians back to work. Let's put people in Niagara back to work. This is a really good program that we can do all the above. So I congratulate your organization and keep up the good work. It's always a pleasure seeing you, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate I appreciate much of the commentary.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Morocco, then Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Worship. I actually have to echo Councillor Gates' comments, and I have to say, as a member of the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce, the Niagara Falls Chamber of Commerce, the Fort Erie Chamber of Commerce, and whatever Chamber of Commerce there is in the town, I'm sure I'm a member. But I have to say, I've already taken that oath and support the campaign, and I think it's a great one. But also, I'd actually like to, with that motion, is that a motion you make? Okay, then I'll second the motion with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I've got Councillor Wing already on this as a second. So moved by Councillor Gates, seconded by Councillor Wing. There's no other discussion to the motion. We'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Well done. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. What we're going to have to do here is, and my apologies to Mr. Richardson, we have to follow the planning, and we've got the BIA here. We can deal with these two, and then we can get. Then you can just go take all the time you want within 5 minutes. After that, no, I'm just kidding you. Okay. Next up, Mr. Clerk, can you introduce the next item on the agenda, please?
Yes, Your Worship. A public meeting is now being convened to consider a proposed amendment to the city zoning bylaw to permit the Windy Lane draft plan of subdivision, which is located approximately near 8891 and 8931 Forest View Boulevard. Notice was given by first-class mail in accordance with the Planning Act on Friday, May 24th, 2013, and by posting a sign on the property in question. Anyone who wants notice of the passage of the zoning bylaw amendment to participate in any site plan process if applicable or preserve their opportunity to appeal to the Ontario Municipal Board shall leave their name on the sign-in sheets outside the council chamber.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hurlovich, could you please explain the proposed bylaw amendment?
Thank you, Worship. This application involves a subdivision and a rezoning for 7.2 acres of land on the north side of Forest View Drive, or Boulevard, just to the east of Garner Road. The property is currently vacant. The map in front of you depicts the actual location. So to the west is a stormwater management pond. There are a couple of existing houses fronting onto Garner Road. To the north are undeveloped lands, and to the east and south are brand new developing residential areas, predominantly single detached dwellings. The plan of subdivision that is being considered tonight is a combination of 21 single detached houses and 41 on-street townhouses. The single detached are depicted in yellow. The developer has laid it out so that the single detached houses on Forest View face single detached houses on the south side of Forest View. The orange color depicts then the on-street townhouses, and those are internal to the subdivision. They back onto the vacant lands to the north, and detached dwellings that are currently being constructed to the east. The applicant is also looking for some changes to the standard zoning. They're looking to increase the height for the single detached dwellings from 10 meters to 10.5 meters. And for the on-street townhouses, they're seeking a lot area of 180 square meters, lot frontage of 6 meters, front yard depth of 4.5 and 6 meters. It would be 4.5 in front of the dwelling unit, 6 meters in front of the garage, in order to provide room for parking. They're also seeking interior side yard width of 1.5 meters, exterior side yard of 3 meters. 8 units could be linked in a row, and the lot coverage of 50% and the same building height of 10.5 meters. The council previously dealt with this application. They had previously proposed, I think it's 107 townhouses on the 2 parcels of land. We held a neighborhood open house, no one attended. The property does comply with the provincial policy statement with respect to density and does provide for housing choices. The lands are designated residential. The proposed single detached dwellings and the townhouses are compatible with the existing development in the area. The on-street townhouses maintain some of the multiples that were originally proposed for this site, and they maintain the neighborhood mix. The proposed mix of housing in this development is 34% single and 66% multiples, which is within the target range of the secondary plan. The subdivision design, the parkland dedication was previously collected through the earlier Edgewood subdivision. There's a chain link fence on the west side around the stormwater pond that will be maintained, and staff is recommending wood fencing along the north property line and along the east. This is a typical requirement where the city has what we call multifamily housing, the townhouses, and they back onto proposed single-family houses. You would see in your handouts tonight, though, an email from the developer asking that the city not impose that condition. I'm sure he'll speak to that later. There are adequate services to serve the subdivision. The zoning bylaw, the single-family houses would be zoned R1E. I mentioned already they're looking for an increase in height of 0.5 meter, and the townhouses would be zoned R3, which is our zone for on-street townhouses, and we would limit the uses to on-street townhouses. And I outlined already the site-specific regulations that they're looking for. They're proposing 2 parking spaces per unit. One would be in the driveway, one in the garage, as opposed to our standard 1.4 spaces for multiples. This is reasonable, and we've granted this for other on-street townhouses throughout the city. Therefore, we believe that the application can be supported because it does comply with provincial and regional policies, complies with our official plan and the Gardner neighborhood plan, and the subdivision provides a logical relotting of the 2 multiple residential lots. Therefore, we are recommending approval of this subdivision design, and the mayor being authorized to sign. The draft approval applies for 3 years. That the zoning bylaw be approved, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the subdivision agreement and the bylaws that are on tonight's agenda be passed. Those are the highlights.
Thank you, Mr. Hurlovich. Are there any questions from members of council? Okay. Seeing none, members of the public are advised that failure to make an oral or written submission at this public meeting will result in the Ontario Municipal Board dismissing any referral it receives. Failure to sign their sign-in sheets will result in staff rejecting an appeal as per section 3419 of the Planning Act. Council will now hear from anyone other than the applicant who wishes to speak to the proposed bylaw amendment. Is there anyone here other than the applicant that wants to address the council? Yes? Yes, if you could step forward, please, to the microphone. If you could please state your name and your address. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Bongers. I live at 6104 Gardner Road. We are the house that is right beside the water pot. Excuse me. With reading this, I'm not sure if I understand properly. Is the wooden fence going to be put, by the pond like it was supposed to.
Maybe we can get our director of planning to help us out.
Yes, I believe the applicant appeared before this council before when townhouses were proposed for the entire property. They had asked for a wooden fence along the west side next to the stormwater pond, so let's see, where's this light? So along this west boundary, they asked for a wooden fence. There's currently a chain link fence. The proposal is that would remain a chain link fence. The wooden fence would go along the north property line and along the east property line.
Okay, so, why would we not have a wooden fence like it was supposed to be first time around?
Your worship, as I was explaining, the city only requires wooden fences where there are townhouses between, or where there are townhouses and single detached next to each other. We don't require fences between single family to single family.
Yes, Councillor Johnson?
Well, the same routine we had before. I'll make the motion for approval, providing they have the wood fence along the one side. If they don't, then I'll oppose it.
And one other question, I have called, City Hall, on a few occasions, trying to find out who owns that pond, because it is not being maintained at all. Those weeds are over 7 feet high.
Mr. Illich, do we have, any kind of, information on the ownership of the pond?
Ultimately, the pond would come to the city, but I don't know that the city has taken the subdivision at this point, so I don't know the answer to that.
Privately owned, and the city utilizes it.
So it looks like the ownership is gonna come to the city, but it must still be in the developer's,
Still the city's responsibility.
well, my question, maybe we can, put this question through to, bylaw. If we've got some, you're saying how tall? There's weeds that are?
7 feet. At first, when they had come in, they planted trees, grass seed was supposed to be blown in. It got as far as, yes, they did plant some trees, but no grass seed was blown in, and the weeds are over 7 feet tall.
Are those in the water or on the bank?
No, on the bank.
On the bank. Maybe we could ask our, clerk to comment on that.
Well, we would go back to the property owner and ask them to rectify any weeds or tall grass.
So we can make that part of the motion tonight too. Is that where you're going, Councillor Johnson?
No, I think that's probably the city's responsibility. There's no development all around it. It's private land, and that was probably put in as a result of the development to the east. There's no reason for the landowner to have a pond there, because he has no development. So, I think we'll refer to city staff.
Yeah, I think so. We'll get some clarity on that. So
Thank you very
obviously
much.
one's the issues and the other is the fence. So we'll hear
Yes.
from the proponent,
Okay.
and we'll hear what they have to say.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ponder. Is there anyone else other than the applicant who wants to address council tonight? Okay, seeing none, council now hear from the applicant or his or her representative. Please state your name.
Good evening, my name is Mark Resnick. I am the applicant and a representative of the landowner. Your worship, members of council, before you, I believe there is an email that I sent later today, which was after some dialogue with town staff about their position on the fencing. I'm really here tonight to reiterate my position in the email. As you heard from staff in the presentation, it is their position that there should be privacy fencing both on the perimeter and where the townhouses abut single detached units. Our position is, in our experience, that in a freehold situation, as we're proposing, where you have back-to-back units, whether those units are townhouses or semis or singles, use is as an intensity very much similar, and we generally do not, and in most places we work, are not required to provide a fence. It is a choice we usually leave up to our builder or the homeowners to provide as they see fit, and we were simply asked that if council approves this, that possibly you would amend condition 14 to implement that request.
Condition 14. 14, that the developer provide wood fencing to the satisfaction of Parks Design along the rear and interior side lot lines, inclusive where they abut single detached dwelling lots along the rear. So maybe, Mr. Hurlovich, could you, help us on, could you help, get some clarity on number 14?
Yeah, so 14 would require a privacy fence, a wooden fence along the north side, along the east side. And what the developer is saying is that they don't wish to provide fencing in that location, that because these are freehold units, this is going to be a city street, 3 days will be a city street. Each townhouse will be individually owned. And so what he's saying is that in a freehold situation, usually the neighbor on one side and the neighbor on the other side get together and agree to construct a fence. And so that's what they would like to do in this situation, not require a fence to be installed on the north side or the east side. And then, of course, we just heard from the person who lives in this property asking for a wooden fence along the west side as well.
If I may, Your Worship, we do support a wood fence along the northern property limit as it does abut undeveloped lands, and we do support the maintenance and continuation of the existing chain link fence on the east side. It is on the east side of the property, and I believe the way the condition is worded, if you look at the unit interior to the street, it would require that where you have the units 11 through 15 abutting onto those townhouse blocks, it would also require the fence be provided there.
So there'd be a fence, you're saying, between the yellow and the orange?
Anywhere you see yellow abutting orange, there would be a fence within the plan of subdivision, and since to the east there are existing single detached units under construction, it would require it along the easterly boundary as well. Our proposal is to support the fence along the northerly boundary and the continued existence of the chain link fence on the easterly boundary abutting the stormwater management ponds.
Easterly.
Northwest.
Sorry, westerly, my apologies.
Westerly, okay. Councillor Wynn.
The suggestion that the neighbors would get together and construct a fence won't work in this case, because if you look at the lot lines, the stuff to the west they're much smaller lots, and they don't line up precisely with the lot lines to the east. So you have somebody down east who could have an agreement with one backyard neighbor and an agreement with the other backyard neighbor, but you get totally different sorts of fences. It just makes sense to build the wooden fence all along and have it nice and uniform, because otherwise it's going to be a dog breakfast.
The other question is Councillor Gates.
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm going to support the staff recommendation on number 14. I think it's exactly what we should be doing. And just on point number 10, development charges enforced at the time of the execution of the subdivision, are they the discounted rate that we currently have?
Mr. Harrison or Mr. Holman?
All development has to pay the development charge rates that are set out in our development charges bylaw.
Thank you. Now, just for clarity, the motion, yes, go ahead, Councilor Morocco.
I don't know if this is a question from the developer here, maybe it's our staff. I'm never a big supporter of this smart growth anywhere where you're just going to cram all these houses. You've got almost 3 properties behind one property on the other side. However, it's 8 in a row and then a break in 8. I guess my question is, after experiencing with some family that actually purchased a townhouse, that I guess the provincial regulations is that sub pumps only have to be in every so many units. I think that's changed though. Have they not changed it that every unit now has to have a sub pump? Because if the sub pump fails in unit number 1 and there's no sub pumps in the other 3, and then there's 1 and 4, all those flood. I just want everyone to be aware that was like, and not once but a couple times. So, I mean, is it a provincial or is it city bylaw? We just don't have that.
I'm sorry, Your Worship, to the council, I would have to check the Ontario Building Code and get back to him.
Okay, I guess then I have to ask the developer, is there a sub pump in every one of these units?
I do not know. I would have to ask our builders.
Okay.
Now, just for, yes, Councillor Mays?
Perhaps Mr. Hurley can answer this. I'm just wondering, on is it Connor Street? Is there existing development on that street, and is there existing fencing there already?
Through you, your worship, there are houses under construction. There aren't fences at this point.
There wouldn't be any fences right now?
No.
Okay, thank you.
And just, Mr. Illovich, just so I understand, what's staff's position on, so the fencing along the west side, which is the left side, along the stormwater management pond, right now it's chain link fence?
That's correct.
Okay, and there sounds like a direction of council that they want to see it wood. Is that what I hear from council? Okay. So currently, the way this is written, that would have to be added in, is that right? Because currently it's...
Yes, you would have to add that in.
Okay.
Well, through the motion that,
Right.
if Councillor Thompson's motion passes.
Once we close the public meeting. Okay. Are there any other questions for Mr. Resnick of council? No? Okay, thank you very much. The public meeting with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment is now concluded. Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, this property has some history, and although we have the one resident that was very vocal at the last meeting, there were numerous people and there were all kinds of properties on the other side of Garner Road, and they were all concerned at that particular time about the same issue, a chain link fence or no fencing. So here you have a substantial project. Most projects that I see come before us exist in the city have proper wood fencing, privacy fencing around them, and I see no reason why they should leave that out. You got a storm management pond. We have people already complaining about the weeds and the condition of that. Why does somebody have to look up their backyard and look at that? So I'll make the motion for approval, providing the fence is wood along the westerly boundary, and refer the matter regarding the other pond and the weeds to the city staff to see if we can rectify that.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Wing. Is there any discussion to the motion? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you very much. For the motion, you understand? Yeah, okay, thank you. And just as planned, we have our downtown BIA in the room right now. So we'll go back to under reports, the beginning of the agenda, TS 2013-30, the downtown BIA. And give everyone a chance to find that in their report, or in their agenda package. So we've got Dave and Nem to address the council on the report. So you'll see there are 6 recommendations from staff, and welcome to the council meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, I'm Nem, General Manager of the BIA. This is Dave Cummins, who's the Chair of the Downtown BIA.
Good evening.
We agree actually with recommendations 2 to 6. The only recommendation we don't agree with is recommendation number 1. We think the fine should be set at $12 instead of $15. Looking at the chart that was provided, it seems that most of the municipalities our size, which is St. Catharines and Brantford, are between $10 and $12. So I think that we should be in line with anybody within our size. So I think the $12 would be a fair assessment to ticket downtown or in the other 3 BIAs.
Okay, so, and you'll see, everyone will see there is a chart of expired meter fines throughout the region, and what they're referring to is the City of St. Catharines fine is $12, City of Niagara Falls fine is $20. Staff are recommending bringing it down to 15, and the BIA is asking for 12. That's essentially what they're requesting on recommendation number 1. Are there any questions for maybe Marzena, or Paul? Oh, I'm sorry, you got Paul in the back. Would you like to comment on this? Then I'll get Councillor Thompson to jump in.
Sure. Your Worship, Mayor, and members of council. We did do the survey to find out what was the average rate, and we did survey the various municipalities, 10 municipalities. We did find that some were higher than ours, like Niagara on the Lake, and we did find that there were a couple of lower, but we found that 15 was the average, and we do think that that is a fair assessment for a set fine, which is a $5 reduction from what it currently is.
And there would be an impact to the revenue for that, and we anticipate that would be approximately $2,700 per year at $15 rather than $20.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Thompson, and then Morocco?
Yeah, I think we've done an amazing job downtown with the streetscaping, with the park, with all the things that we've done down here over the past many years, and we still haven't accomplished the objective of drawing some major businesses down here that bring the crowds, and I think we're still in the development stage. And to suggest that they're in competition, obviously, with all of the malls, the new Walmart, where parking is free. So, in my opinion, this is a growing situation where maybe next year we look at it and take another look to see how business is going down in the downtown. But in the interim, I think we're here to try to support them, to do everything we can to try to make things happen, to bring people down, and when people are down, to make them happy while they're here. So I don't have any problem with starting out with the $12 and approving the other recommendations that are being suggested. This is a partnership, so let's work with them. Once they're vibrant and all the businesses and people are coming down here, then we can reconsider it at that particular time. This is not Niagara on the Lake, so very simple. I would make the motion to approve that.
Okay, motion by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Morocco. Okay, thank you. Is there any other, yes, Councillor Wayne?
Is that then for Queen Street, Main Street, and Chippewa?
That's right.
All three?
Okay. Is there any other questions or discussion of council? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, that's approved. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, all right. Mr. Richardson, let's talk cemetery talk. Come on back up. Yeah. I'm not sure. Mr. Richardson, Council just wants just to remind us they've read the reports front to back.
Wonderful.
So the abbreviated version is good, but give it to them.
Okay.
A very good report so far, by the way. You can tell you put a lot of time and effort into it. It's real comprehensive. It was a good read.
Thank you, Your Worship, Honourable Council. As previously mentioned, we have spent 2 years on this, so I do appreciate your time this evening, and I will keep this as brief as possible. Actually, we can skip the first few slides as we've discussed that in the last. This slide presents the existing number of plots, lots, and niches that are currently available for sale at Fairview Cemetery and Stamford Green Columbarium. And I'll just run through this very quickly. Sections Q and R currently have approximately 700 lots. That would include singles, doubles, triples, etc. Section V, which is in the process of being opened, quite simply all we have to do is pin it and then inform the public that it is available for sale. Once it is, it will have 543 flexible lots available for sale. The reason why I'm referring to them as flexible is moving forward, we won't be selling singles, we won't have sections specifically designed for singles or doubles or triples. We'll have sections that are pinned as single lots, but that can be sold as singles, doubles, as triples. You could purchase 12 if you preferred. Also in Section V, we will have 254 infant and or cremation lots available in a cremation lot that has the capacity for 4 cremations per. Finally, we also have 2 scattering areas. One is in the midst of being constructed. That is Memorial Woods. But we also have Memorial Garden, and in those areas we can accommodate unlimited numbers of scatterings. At Fairview, we have sections 12 and TT that are designed specifically for cremations, and they have 340 plots remaining. And finally, Fairview Maple Grove section, which is our premier columbaria area. At this point, the number has dropped below 100 columbaria niches. We just installed an additional dome last year, and it has been selling at a great rate. And finally, with respect to Stamford Green, we have 15 niches remaining, and we recently approved the construction of an additional niche that will bring, I believe, 72 more niches to Stamford Green columbarium. Looking forward, however, we have made the following development recommendations through our customer service delivery review. Again, I must point out that Lees & Associates has conducted a peer review and have commented on each of these and have identified the following recommendations as immediate need or high priority. This is an overview of Fairview Cemetery. The sections that I will be referring to now, if you can see the mouse, are Section P, which is the northeastern corner of the cemetery, and Maple Grove, which lies adjacent to our Fairview Cemetery offices. Our recommendation for Fairview, for Maple Grove Columbaria is to develop Fairview Maple Grove section as a, or continue, I should say, continue to develop Fairview Maple Grove section as a high-profile columbaria area, providing a variety of columbaria within a 10-year period. And by that I mean that over the next 10 years, we will continue to develop it on an annual basis. As I mentioned, we recently installed our second dome columbaria, which seems to be the most popular. However, in the future, we have future designs that would also incorporate family columbarium units, which would allow people to purchase the entire unit themselves and have their family name inscribed on that. We're also looking at the opportunity or the potential to install a columbaria wall, a very large wall which would serve for two purposes. Obviously, it would give us an incredible number of niches, but it would also serve as a barrier between our garage and the columbaria area. So it would serve as a barrier, I guess. The second recommendation with respect to Fairview Cemetery is for Section P, to develop Section P into flexible plots, as mentioned, singles, doubles, triples, etc., with plots being available for sale by 2015. Section P will also include a gateway columbaria to maximize the use of space and expand interment options. And in this illustration, you'll see the incredible numbers here. I believe the number that we have is 1,200 flexible plots would be, 2,000 flexible plots would be made available. In addition, in the northeasterly and southeasterly corners, we've proposed that we install a gazebo columbarium, which is ultimately designed with six or seven pedestals that are columbaria themselves, and each one would have, I believe, 144 niches. Each gazebo columbarium would have 144 niches. So there would be a total of 288 niches available in Section P. Further to that, we have a very unique option at Fairview Cemetery. We currently have 4 islands. They are ultimately a green space now with trees, and some of them have gardens planted on them. These have been identified as areas that we could develop into island estates. And by island estates, I mean areas that, again, a family could purchase a very specific portion, the size of that island estate, and with us, they could develop or design their own personalized estate, where they could have in-ground interments, they could have columbaria installed, they could have oversized monuments to their heart's content. The sky really is the limit with these island estates. I call it unique because, to our knowledge, no other cemetery, at the very least in the region, offers this sort of arrangement. The illustration that I have on the board now is just one. This is at the north entrance of Fairview Cemetery, and you'll see the original design proposed that we provide 3 individual island estates. This is all in concept right now. As I mentioned, our goal would be to work with the public, work with the families who are interested in this opportunity in designing their own island estate. We took it one step further and we designed one of those, a third of that island. And in here, I believe, if my numbers are correct, I think we had close to 20 in-ground burials. We also provided space for family columbaria, which had 6 to 12 allowed niches, 6 to 12 niches. And in the center here, we had a family mausoleum. Again, this is something that has been proposed to us. People have asked us about these options, and of course, on a regular basis, we're also asked about oversized monuments. Here is our opportunity to provide that need to our customers. We move to Lundy's Lane, where we have a recommendation, and that is to use the existing property of the recreation building, remove the cultural heritage significance designation of that building, proceed with demolishing it, and develop 400 cemetery plots, and again, incorporate a corner gateway columbarium. Again, we were looking at the gazebo columbarium as an opportunity to maximize the use of the space, to provide as many opportunities for people as far as interment options, so that they could bring their cremated remains and they could have in-ground interments here. So the following will illustrate our proposed development of that corner at Lundy's Lane and Montrose Road. The red obviously depicts the in-ground burials. We would have a diagonal pathway that would serve as a gateway to Lundy's Lane Cemetery, and at the corner, not only would we have the gazebo columbarium as a gateway feature, but we would also incorporate some incredible landscape features, some gardens, green spaces, additional tree plantings that would serve as a beautification feature along the lane. Moving forward, we looked at an opportunity. We are routinely asked if there is room at Drummond Hill Cemetery, just as we are at Lundy's Lane Cemetery. In fact, I should make that point. Lundy's Lane Cemetery, there are no available plots for sale. There are no lots, no plots, but we do have a waiting list that's approximately 3 pages long. At the same time, we have people that approach us about Drummond Hill Cemetery, asking if there is space for interment or any future plots available. We took that opportunity and we developed the Holman property, or we were proposing to develop the Holman property to include columbaria units along the existing stone dust pathway. In addition to that, in keeping with the historical significance of the location, we have proposed to incorporate a memorial plaza with a statue or a cenotaph to recognize and honor our veterans, which I think could also be used during our memorial for our memorial services, for our Remembrance Day services. In addition to this, and the illustration will show this, in the Memorial Plaza, which is in the southwest corner here, we've also incorporated the addition of 4 columbaria units. Lees and Associates reviewed this opportunity again, and something that they encouraged us to look at was developing very unique, very customized columbaria units that would again reflect the significance of that area as being the location of the Battle of Lundy's Lane. So what you'll see here is we've highlighted the opportunity to develop 8 columbaria units along the existing stone dust pathway that already incorporates this property with Drummond Hill Cemetery, and we've incorporated a cenotaph in the central west portion of that property. This is the last slide of this presentation, and what we've done here is summarize all of the opportunities that lie before us, be it through Fairview Maple Grove Section P Island Estates. This table summarizes the number of lots, plots, columbaria niches, the cost to develop each of these properties, the anticipated revenue, and the investment in care and maintenance. And I think it's important that we take all of these numbers into consideration. The investment in care and maintenance, as we pointed out, we currently collect 5.25% over the provincial standard of 3%. So when we look down at the bottom row there, and in the development of these properties, we collect nearly $4 million in care and maintenance. That's an incredible number, and it's an opportunity for us to really improve our fund as it stands now. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening, and I look forward to your questions and comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Richardson. As I said, that's a very comprehensive report with a lot of really good information. A couple things that jumped out at me. A couple things. Number one, that we're definitely below the industry standard right now for what we're charging, even within the region here. second thing that jumped out to me was that cremation has now become more popular than regular burial, which is interesting. I guess today times are tough and different approach to burials. The other thing, and this I kind of knew, but the city plot for the final resting place is probably the least expensive part of a funeral compared to the cost of some of the other aspects of interment. And also green burial, so something that I had never heard before, before you gave us our presentation. I'm glad to see that this report also includes increased customer service, including Saturdays and evenings, without putting extra burden on the family, especially at a difficult time. So we've got this first report here, and I saw a hand, Councillor Morocco. I believe I saw your hand up first. Then we've got Councillor Mays and Carriel.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's a great report. I don't know for people that haven't seen, but it's like bigger than some local and their budget. Yeah. Just a couple questions. First of all, there's a lot of things in here that I fully support, and then there's a couple of things that I have a few questions on. First of all, we talked about in an earlier presentation the addition, the building at Fairview Cemetery, the staff building. I didn't see the cost. I'm wondering maybe why I missed that. Is there a cost to that? And we'll let you answer that first.
We are, sorry.
$150,000 for everything.
That's right. Yeah, Your Worship, through you, the proposed cost to develop the building or to extend the building is $250,000.
Okay, and that would give you the room for...
That would give us the meeting room at the front of the building, which is legislated. It would improve the existing reception area, and it would also allow us to expand the building.
And that would be brought forward 14th, is that correct?
Correct.
Second of all, I have to say that I'm not sure that, well, I can't say that I definitely do not support the fact that we're going to do a 30% and 54% increase on interment services sales in that short term. So I have to say that I do agree with the letter sent in from Ernie Morgan from Morrison's Fund that I think it needs to be considered. To talk about marketing the cost, I think that the front page of the review or whatever, when you start talking about 30% and 54%, that'll get some attention for sure from the residents about the cost of the plot. It's almost like you just can't afford to die. They want to, but I don't know that I can support that. So I don't know, Your Worship, how this is going to come across if we're actually now going to look at supporting the entire presentation, or
What we'll do it in three parts. Yeah, there's the first one is the service delivery review, where
and that falls into the building and the.
Yeah, well, it talks about revenue generation, marketing, customer service, operation efficiencies, cemetery bylaws and whatnot. And the second report is a proposed cemetery fee schedule. And perhaps at that point, if I understand what you're saying, if 30% 54 within 6 months is a little steep, maybe we can have it phased in over maybe a little bit of a stretched out period or something like that.
Yeah, Mr. Morgan has recommended over 24 months instead of 12, so that's an option.
Yep.
Also, I have to say that I do support the decommission of the building on Lemon Lane and changing that into more burial plots and whatever else.
More burial, okay.
So I'd like to make a motion then.
So for the first one, do you want to start with the service delivery review?
Yes, for 24 months, as recommended.
Okay, we'll get to that one second. So first report is the cemetery service delivery review. So we need a motion to accept the review. You want to make that motion, Councillor? If that doesn't involve the fee, that involves the service delivery review. Okay.
I'll make the motion too.
Okay, moved by Councillor Morocco, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Any discussion to the service delivery review aspect? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the vote. Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Wayne?
I don't support designating and demolishing the former school building at London's Lane and Montrose Road. We haven't even put that on the market. There was community support for preserving it previously, and as a result of that, it was designated, but we never gave, the one gentleman in particular who was really keen on seeing it, because we never gave him the opportunity to purchase that. And, you know, it's still things like that that aren't seen in other communities. Those are the sort of things that make Niagara Falls unique and set us apart from Ajax and Mississauga and, you know, boring places like that. You know, I don't mean any insult to them, but it's a community's heritage that sets it apart. And I think the more unique we are here in Niagara Falls, the more we appeal to quite a segment of our visitors. I mean, I was just up in the Bruce Peninsula for a week, and the Asian market is huge on the Bruce now, and they go there for the sort of things that can't be found anywhere else, like, you know, the real Canadian experience. And, you know, we have the real Niagara experience, but we've been busy getting rid of our heritage, and while the environment is gone now too. And I think it's important to hang on to what's left so that we don't look like Ajax or other places like that. It's what makes us unique. And I just don't think it's very wise to tear that building down without having seen if we can get more money from it by preserving it and selling it. I think there's other options that this report perhaps hasn't fully explored, and, you know, I just don't want to rush into that one.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Thompson, do you want to comment back there?
Yes, I second the motion, and I do agree with the first of all, congratulations on the report. To think that the amount of effort and work that's gone into this, and the forethought, and I looked at the proposal for Lundy's Lane, and Montrose. I was not in favor of retaining the building before. I thought the idea of turning it into part of the cemetery was an excellent idea, a good return on investment, and also gives the opportunity for people who want to be interred in that particular area the opportunity to have a beautiful setting and a wonderful environment. It also enhances the streetscaping, which the Lundy's Lane area has been trying to do, and for somebody to take that building and to put it back into a use that would be appropriate would cost a huge amount of money, particularly if it was going to be used for any public use. So I think what you've suggested is excellent. I like the design. I like the columbarium at the front, and I think that's why I would second the motion. Has there been discussions, obviously, with funeral directors and the monument people with respect to this all the way through?
Yes, we have met with them in the past, and we also met with them less than a month ago, actually, to provide an update.
And they've had their opportunity to have input into this?
Absolutely.
The changing in the time, there's been discussions with the union with respect to how that's going to work out, and they were acceptable to that?
They were.
Okay, so they had their input. I think the phasing in of the fees is also what I would support. And just a question, we're talking about increasing fees and the cost of burial. What is the policy, or what is the province to suggest, or what do you do with somebody who is indigent and does not have any resources, and a family member dies? What do we do? How is that handled through the government agencies, through the region, the welfare system? How is that handled?
Your Worship, through you.
Yes.
The region currently has social services interments and at a very reduced rate, and they actually, through the legislation, they've just changed the policy there, differing the size of the monument that can be placed. But those who can't afford it can go to the region.
And there are funds available?
Yeah, sorry, if I could just add to that as well. So the region does pay for it, but they do have an agreement, or we are advised by the region, the funeral home as well as the cemetery, that we provide a reduced rate. So, for example, a burial can only cost $1,000, and that includes the lot and the interment service. And we do get a little bit more. We work things out, but
okay,
they
so
go
it's
through
a
the
cooperative effort to try to accomplish the objective. So I see. I appreciate that. Okay, I had a couple other questions, but I think that's time for now. Thank you.
Okay, so we do have a motion seconded on the cemetery service delivery review. Is there any other comments or questions on that? Yes, Councillor Gates.
Yeah, to Councillor Wayne's point, I'd like to vote on the recreation building separate. Pull it out and vote on it separate, and I can support the rest of the cemetery service delivery review.
Okay, so we can split them up. Is there any other comments or questions before we do that? Yep, Councillor May.
Well, Your Worship, as far as the review is concerned, as far as the recreation building and all the other buildings and properties, are we gonna deal with those separately, or just one at a time, or how are we gonna handle those? I think there's about 6 properties that are on that list we're talking about.
Yeah.
But we are gonna just talk about that one Lundy's Lane.
So we're just pulling that one out separately.
Okay, great. Thank you. Didn't want to speak to that.
Okay, so if there's no other questions, why don't we then, we'll call the vote on everything except for the Recreation Commission building, excuse me, on the corner of Lundy's Lane and Montrose Road. Okay, so we'll call the vote on that. All those in favor? Okay, and opposed? Okay, so that's unanimous. Okay, and now we're looking for a motion, same mover and second, okay? Probably moved by Councillor Morocco, second by Councillor Thompson. Okay, recorded vote on the Recreation Commission building, recommendation within the service delivery review. Yes, Councillor Kieran.
Bishop, I just have a question, I guess, for you to Mr. Richardson. In respect of the old Parks and Rec building, I know the motion on the floor is to tear it down. There's some other comments around the table in regards to not tearing it down. If the building was torn down and a columbarium would go there, I guess my question is, what's the need to have the columbarium there? Shouldn't the columbarium be somewhere else? I think the feeling from some of the members of council is that the building has never been put up for sale. Really don't know what someone would offer for it, and could that columbarium go elsewhere? So I guess I'd just like to hear your comments before the vote comes.
Sure. Your Worship, through you. The adaptation or the addition of the gazebo columbarium was put in place when we were reviewing the 2 figures, or the 2 illustrations on the right side of the screen were the designs that were originally I guess the original designs that were developed with the BIA and Parks, and they incorporated a large gateway feature, a large clock. The top feature had a large gazebo, basically, and so we were trying to maintain that landscape feature, that attractiveness for the lane. And so that's why we incorporated the gazebo feature there. It also is incorporated into the diagonal pathway that would serve as an entrance to the cemetery. So really, again, it was an opportunity to maximize the use of the space. But to answer your question directly, we could reposition columbaria in different sections of Lundy's Lane Cemetery.
Okay. That's good. I've got Councillor Morocco, then Wayne. Then Nate.
Your Worship, through you, to Mark, I have to just say, you know what, the whole landscape, and I'll go back, I think I can recall that when I was on council back in 2003 to 6, that this came up again for the building. And I recall that the building needs so much repair, and the amount of money that needs to be put into it. Yes, there was some word out in the street that there was an individual that wanted to buy it. And I think once they looked at it and saw the amount of money that was going to be put into it, and I think then we started talking about, well, wait a minute, this is our cemetery. This is one of the most beautiful cemeteries in Niagara Falls, next to Fairview as well. And we don't have a lot of cemeteries out there to choose from, or actually more land to pick up to use the cemeteries, and we see that the population is actually growing older. But I think that the staff has done a beautiful job on actually incorporating that whole corner and beautifying it to actually take that building and replace it. The building is huge, it's old, and I think that we could actually get a lot more revenue. Why do we want to take something that we already own and sell it to somebody that could end up putting, I don't know, a drive-through there, or a muffler shop place, or something that's just going to be a horrendous red maybe tin building eyesore? I just think that it's just not right. I don't think that we want to put it on the market. We want to control this property and actually extend the London Lane Cemetery. And I have to say that I fully support the decommission, actually, and move on. The building has been sitting there for how many years? Still another 4 years, and nobody has done nothing. And I just think that we need to say, you know what, let's take that land and use it for our own cemetery use to expand on it. I think the staff has done a great job on presenting a replacement.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. I've got, yes, Mr. Clerk?
Yeah, just a couple of points. The reason why nothing's been done for the last 4 years was because of a council motion to put everything on hold with regard to the property. And council actually directed staff to rezone the property, and that took place in 2009, so it was rezoned from open space for tourist, commercial, and office space uses.
Okay, I've got Councillor Wing, Maves, and Carrier.
Yes, that plan for the corner wasn't developed with the BIA. I spent several years as council rep on that BIA, and it was one of my first meetings, so we're probably talking early 2007, when there was a presentation from city staff to the BIA of the plan that city staff had been developed, and it was basically a pitch to the BIA to come on board and throw in money to beautification of that corner. So I don't believe it was developed with the BIA. It was just something that was developed and presented to them. I know that part of the Lundy's Lane appeal and marketing effort centers around its history, and Green's Corners and the community there and the school building at these corners is a part of that history. I mean, there's very little of the historic buildings left on the lane, and you know, historic buildings, just by their very nature, do tend to be old, and we don't need to keep the whole building. There's an addition that was put on it that is not part of the reason for designation. Just trying to read my notes here. I don't think there's any worry if it were to be sold of it being turned into a muffler shop or something like that, because the fact that it's designated prevents unsympathetic alterations, such as turning it into a muffler shop. So you know, you have to do a lot of exterior renovations there to do that, and the designation would protect it from that. And the fact that nobody has done nothing is because that opportunity wasn't provided. You know, we've just sat on it. We haven't put it on the market to see what kind of bids it can bring in, and I've seen some buildings that seem to be in awfully bad shape brought back up to the standard. In fact, I was involved in a project like that. Freyla's Tavern was not a very pleasant building when the Friends of Lundy's Lane Dallas got the Millennium Partnership Project grant and fundraised, and you know, now it's one of the city's premier museum sites. So with that came back from being in pretty rough shape to something that's now one of our premier tourism spots that we actually own and operate. So I think we need to explore it and not rush into trying to de-designate and tear it down. I think at the very least we need to see what kind of offers it could bring in if it were put up for sale.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Maves, Ontario?
Yeah, your worship, I wanted to speak to that right away as soon as that came up on the screen, and really, that's been there for so long, the building really isn't saleable. It makes it even worse with a designation on it. And I don't know, has anyone inquired, perhaps the clerk would know, has anyone inquired about purchasing the property? I know Mr. Pingu was interested in doing something with it at one time, but no one's inquired about it or anything?
No one's inquired because we haven't put it up for sale.
Well, I think that even, the building is in pretty rough shape as well, is it not?
I did also receive some interest from a company that does asbestos relief. They did look at the property and didn't go anywhere else with it.
We got an unsolicited offer for $40,000.
40,000. You know, I think it would do much better if it would turn into a columbarium.
I told the fellow that I wouldn't present that to council.
And I really do think it's becoming an eyesore. It's been there so long. I think we should do as planned. I'm for that.
Councillor Carrier?
I'm not gonna repeat the other councillors. I'm in favor of the plan that's presented by the staff to tear the building down and make it part of the cemetery.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, if there's no other comments, then we'll ask the clerk to do the recorded vote.
That's basically that recommendation that's on the screen, so I don't think I need to repeat it. So the motion is to approve that recommendation. Councillor Gates? Opposed? Councillor Terrio?
For.
Councillor Maves?
For.
Councillor Morocco?
For.
Councillor Pietrangelo? Opposed. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Councillor Wing?
Opposed.
Mayor Diodati?
For.
Okay, passes.
Next item, MW 2013-17 are the proposed cemetery fee schedule. So, as it's pointed out here, we're well below the industry average, and staff have come forward with a two-step proposal, 30% and then 54%, and there was a letter from one of the funeral home operators to extend that period, rather than being over a few months, to be a little longer. So, Councillor Morocco.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion that we extend that over 24 months instead of 12, with the 30 and 54.
Okay, moved by Councillor Morocco. Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, I'll second this, and I just remember the other question about monuments. When people pass away and they approach you, they put you under a lot of pressure and stress with respect to monuments. Is there anything that, when you look at the old cemetery, you've got some monuments 12, 15 feet high, and then you have the cookie cutter type of atmosphere that everyone is within the same limits, more or less. Is there any flexibility in this report with respect to monument size? Somebody wants to do a little higher, a little bigger. Isn't variety still appropriate?
Your Worship, through you to Councillor Thompson. Moving forward, we're actually in the midst of rewriting our bylaws to respond to some of the requests that we've had, as well as the change in the legislation. One of the changes that we've recommended, when I refer to flexible lots, one of the reasons for that was while we were touring through the cemetery with Lees and Associates, they asked us why we had singles here and doubles there, and one of the things that they pointed out was when you go through the older sections, you get this marvelous landscape of a small monument beside a larger monument. So that, to respond in part to your question, that's one of the reasons why we've moved to the flexible lots, so people can have a wider monument. We have actually been allowing that more recently. With respect to height, we are limited. It provides or creates a bit of an operational issue for us when a monument gets to a certain height, because our backhoe can't reach over top to complete the opening. And if it's in an open field,
you can bring those guys from the Green Cemetery over to do that.
We may have to. But this is in part why we wanted to develop the island estates. While we illustrated that there were only 3 within that island, we recognize that most families may not need 24 in-ground burials. So we looked at the opportunity to shrink those islands and perhaps have 6 on one island, with 6 estates on one island. And that would provide a family an opportunity to purchase enough space to have 6 family members interred, and they could put up a monument the size of City Hall, or the height of City Hall.
Okay, so there is the flexibility.
Absolutely, yeah.
Working on,
Yeah.
there's one large monument up in, Lundy's Lane, which looks a little bit oversized. I don't know who's responsible for that. I think I am. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Wayne.
Yes, something Mr. Richardson said about the low and high monuments and the landscape or the landscape exhibition reminds me of how good gardens constructed and the variations in the heights and textures and how the plants are put together. I sort of support what Councillor Thompson's been saying about giving more opportunities for, I guess, what we call oversized monuments. And I can appreciate if they get too big, there will be some difficulties. But I don't see why we can't allow them at a premium cost. When new full body interment plots were opened up at Lundy's Lane some years ago, we charged a premium for those, and we got it. So maybe for the opportunity to build oversized monuments, we charge a premium that will cover the extra cost of working around those. And if you look at the peer review done, there's one part where they're talking about the shelf stuff not being complimentary. Well, that's one of the charms of older cemeteries is you walk through and there's unique monuments that you don't find anyplace else, and beautiful construction, they're architectural sort of stuff, and that's what makes them places of beauty. Where you go, you're drawn to instead of turned off by. And I just think that oversized monuments at a premium price, putting them in, are something that we need to look at as well. And I have to say, excellent job on this report. You can tell that a lot of work went into it. I know that Lees and Associates said there's more that they'd like to do, and I know it's partly profit driven, but I think I can see myself, and I was reading there's lots of bells going off, and I can see some other opportunities that perhaps haven't been fully explored. So I'd like to see this built on in the future, and I don't know, I could have to sit down and talk with one of both of you if you want, but I just think that oversized monuments is something we need to take more of a look at.
Any other feedback? Yes, Councillor. Yes.
Sorry, if you don't mind, if I could just respond to the oversized monuments. We had a council report in January of this year to bring back information on oversized monuments, and as a result, we did increase the maximum size to 60 inches, which is considerably higher than what we do allow. We cannot charge a premium on a monument because we do not provide that service. We provide the service of selling graves and of providing an interment service, so we can charge whatever amount we want, but we don't make the monument, so we cannot charge a premium to provide that, because we do not provide that service. It's legislated. I looked into that considerably a few months ago. Also, I totally agree with the beautiful monuments that you see in the older sections. That really makes Fairview unique in the way you can drive around the old circles and you can see those monuments, and they are quite magnificent. The interesting fact about that is that there's considerable amount of space between that one very large monument and the next very large monument, because that one very large monument takes up maybe 12 to 24 graves because it's all one big family. So you're able to get the backhoe in there. Actually, back then, they probably just used the shovel and pickaxe. But today, when you look at our sections, which are pretty much west-east, and they're all in nice, tidy little lines, it's difficult to maneuver in and around monuments when you're opening a grave or even when you're doing any kind of maintenance. So we are sympathetic, and we do want to work with the families. That's one of the reasons why we went with the estate islands, because those people that can afford these magnificent monuments do have a place to do that.
Councillor Wayne, you want to continue?
Yes, I wasn't suggesting that we charge a premium for the monument, because I know we're not in the monument business.
Okay.
The premium would be for the right to put a premium size or an oversized monument, and if the distance and maneuvering around is a problem, then maybe that can only come if you buy a 4 or 6 full body internment plot. Like you buy a large plot and you can put something. And I mean, there's got to be some way to allow for variety, because it's so boring when they're all low and cookie cutter. Like there's nothing attractive about that at all. And if we want to try and make our cemeteries more visually appealing, allowing distinctive and unique monuments, oversized ones, is one of the things we're going to have to find a way to do.
I have to agree with that. I remember hearing a peer review architect saying in Ottawa, when they set a maximum height, everything went to that height, and everything's flat, and there's no points of interest. So, and in Niagara Falls, we had the same problem at one point when we had a maximum height. Everything went to that height, and it was flat and lacked interest. I've got Councillor Gates, and then Thompson, and then Morocco.
Yeah, I'm going to speak to the motion. So it's second.
Okay, all right. Listen, I understand what we're trying to accomplish here, and that's to kind of somehow get to a break-even point. Obviously, with us being substantially lower than some of the other municipalities, I get that, but I think the length of time that we get there is something that I have some problems with. Should it be 2 years, 5 years, whatever? I mean, the reality is, it's not nice to say, and I'm not sure I'm saying this right, but the reality is most of the people that are passing away, unfortunately, are seniors. And we have a lot of seniors that are really struggling to make ends meet, quite frankly, that might not be able to afford that big of a hit so quickly. So I'd like to support Councillor Morocco's motion, but I'd like to see it, us collectively as a group, come up with a little longer than 24 months. I think it's just too quick. I think the financial hardship is too heavy. With the ultimate goal, I think, from the report, is to get to a point where we're close to a break-even point, that we're not subsidizing the cemeteries and all that stuff. But I think how we get there, I'd like to see it longer than 24 months, and I think that's what I'd like to, maybe the council come up with there. I think at least 36 months, 48 months, something like that.
Okay, well, I can ask the mover, the seconder, how you feel about 36 months versus the 24.
Who made the motion?
Councillor Morocco, I believe you made the motion.
Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. I just don't want to see it being imposed on people like all in one big chunk, but I think that there's a revenue impact that actually goes along with it, and I understand that that's why they were probably looking at the 12 months, so I was really thinking that this once gets out into the public, and the public is aware that there's going to be this huge increase, I hope it gives people the advantage to take that opportunity in the next 24 months and actually move on, either considering their funeral arrangements and taking advantage of the lower rate that's going to be there for the next 24 months, or not. So I don't know, maybe I'll let some of the other councils.
Yeah, that's good. You're good. The CAO pushes button about 12 times. I think we're going to say something.
No, twice. And just to that point, we're comfortable with the recommendation you made on the time frame. I think if there's a compromise here to be made, as long as that's within a reasonable time, I think the 24 would be a reasonable time. The longer you stretch that out, you get into the operational side where we're not gaining on the operations with our internment costs. And, that's impacting the operating side of the budget, so that's impacting the tax side. And for every grave that we sell, we're losing that opportunity for the increased price of the, perpetual care and maintenance. And I can tell you that our concern here, that if we put this off too long, we've got so many cemeteries now that are handed over to us, that in the future, we've got to ensure that that perpetual care and maintenance fund is adequate enough to fund that long-term maintenance once your grave sales are finished. Because we have to maintain these things forever. Like, these cemeteries have to be maintained by us forever. And if we don't get on getting our house in order in terms of having an adequate amount of perpetual care and maintenance money, that's going to be an impact on our operating budget every year that we don't do that. So I think the quicker we get at it, I think the 24 months, I think would be reasonable and be a reasonable compromise. Even the funeral directors have said that. I think the further we stretch that out, it just prolongs the inevitable of us being underfunded.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Thompson?
Well, that's chicken or the egg. When you're here, if you don't increase them, who pays? You pay on your taxes. Maybe it's going to reduce the taxes for some of the elderly seniors who are here by having the increase quicker, because once you get to the point where you're going to utilize the pot, you're not going to be worried about finances anymore.
Good point. Was there any other comments of council? Okay, all right. Yes, Councillor Wayne.
Thanks. I always support the user pay concept. It's not fair to people who aren't using a service to subsidize those who are. I see two different financial things happening here. There's the internment rights when you purchase your plot or your columbarium niche or whatever you're purchasing, and then there's the actual internment costs. And the internments themselves are unique events. And in a way, it's kind of like those who live longer. If you live longer than the 36 months, you're going to get hit, whereas if you die within the 36 months, then you're going to get your internment at a cheaper rate. So, I don't know, I just see these as two separate things. Like, maybe we should, if the concern is to give people an opportunity to purchase their niche or grave at a cheaper rate, then phase that part in. But, you're not going to help seniors who are struggling by phasing in the internment costs. If they're struggling now, they're still going to be struggling in 36 months. The only advantage they might realize is that if they die within the 36 months, they'll get it cheaper than if they die after the 36 months. So maybe we need to look at phasing in only certain parts of it. I don't know if this is following what I'm trying to say. Maybe we could defer this part, but if you phase in the internment cost, the burial cost, that is not going to help seniors who are struggling to make ends meet.
Okay, well, we do have a motion on the floor right now, and the motion is to phase in the increases over 24 months as supported by the funeral director. So we'll call that vote. Yes, Mr. Clerk.
Yeah, but that's just related to your lot niche sales and your internment service.
Okay.
Like there's other fees in the report, is there not?
Mr. Richardson, maybe?
The fee schedule also includes increases for administration, different things like that. So, I think if you want the 24 months, that it would be everything that is in the fee schedule.
Yeah.
No?
No, I
Yeah.
think the thing that council's concerned about is the 30% increase and the 54% increase. The other increases are nominal, so the motion, as I understand it, is that you're approving the fees, but in the situation of the lot and lease sales, instead of the, three-pronged increase, similarly with the intern services, instead of the three-pronged increase, you'd be looking at six-pronged, I guess, so over 24 months as opposed to 12.
Exactly right. Okay, so everyone understands that. Okay, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, with one opposed. And then we've got one more cemetery issue here. Weaver Cemetery fence.
Yeah, I move we pay for our portion of the fence.
Okay, moved by Councilor Thompson, second by Councilor Morocco, that the city pay its portion of the fence and reimburse Metris. Report MW 2013-31. Okay, is there any questions or comments to that? If not, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's approved unanimously. Oh, no, we can't. Funny guy. Okay, Mayor's report, Councilor Thompson's favorite part of the meeting. I'll try to get through it quickly. First off with obituaries, Daphne Goldman, mother of Kathy Moldenhauer, Director of Recreation and Culture, passed away this past week, as did David Sparks, brother of Brian Sparks of our Property Standards Division, and I would like to acknowledge Ruby Amanda Mays, sister of Bart Mays, tonight too. Our condolences on your losses, and we'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
What's happened in this past week? We had the Schools in Blooms event at the McBain Center. Big Lots had their grand opening at Niagara Square. And now you don't have to go over the river to go to Big Lots. We have one here on this side of the river, so one last trip right there. St. Mike's Catholic High School had their groundbreaking ceremony. Already the school is expanding. They're going to be adding significant size to Councilor Peter Angelo's school. Very exciting event. They brought in, they had students on horseback. They had their principal driving a bobcat. It was like an American school groundbreaking. Very exciting. And that end of the city, south end of the city, is going to experience record growth, so it's good timing. We had our employee appreciation breakfast at Club Italia, and I know we had Councilor Morocco, and that was it, right? Councilor Morocco joined me there. 25th anniversary celebration of Niagara Duty Free at the Rainbow Bridge took place last week. Our Biz Zone across the street from City Hall, which is an incubator for small businesses, had their summer company launch party where students can get $3,000 loans and start up their businesses. Heartland Forest Nature Center had their big opening, very exciting. Laura Secord Bicentennial Commemorative Walk. My wife and I joined hundreds of others as we walked 32 kilometers on Saturday. It was hot. At the end of the walk, they gave us a wrong turn, so it was closer to 40 kilometers. I'm still sore from the walk up those hills, but I will say this. Some of our trails and vistas are spectacular. If you haven't seen the Legacy Trail, you have to go see it. I know Councilor Peter Angelo runs along it, and I saw portions of it I didn't even know existed. It was just spectacular through DeQ Falls and in Queenston and out behind Fireman's Park. And some of our trail system it's worth taking some time. It's free. It's great exercise and fresh air and worth exploring our backyard. It's as nice as anywhere. Senior Star took place at O-Canada A, where seniors are competing for a national competition. And this past Sunday, where the Fallen Hot Rodders car show took place at Station 6, Fire Station number 6 in Crowland. Thank you to the following council members for attending events in our community. Representing the city, Councilor Gates and Morocco were both at Habitat for Humanity home dedication on McRae Street, and as well the Niagara Girls Minor Softball Association tournament opening. Councilor Peter Angelo represented us at the Niagara Falls Volunteer Firefighter graduation. I heard he gave a very excellent speech. Also Councilor Wing and our CAO Ken Todd represented the city at the Philippine Independence Day flag raising out front of City Hall. Councilor Gates was busy representing the city at the Willoughby Historical Museum County Fair, the 10th anniversary celebration at Bella Senior Care, Daniel Rodriguez thank you event for the Veterans documentary, and the flag raising, the National Congress Italian Canadian celebration. And Councilor Morocco represented us as well at the Rosehaven Model Homes opening. So thank you for that. Up and coming, a lot of graduations. We've got all 5 high school graduations this week, 2 on Wednesday and 3 on Thursday. It's going to be a trick, but I'm going to be getting out to all of them. Canada Day, now the new walk will take place on Queen Street. Beforehand, there will be a 5K run walk for St. John's Ambulance at 8 a.m. beginning from Oaks Park. The parade begins at 11 a.m. on Canada Day. Begins at Victoria Avenue at Jepson. Then it travels along Victoria Avenue to Valleyway to Queen Street. It'll follow the exact same route as the Santa Claus Parade, except that it ends at Chrysler rather than City Hall. Opening ceremonies will take place at 1 o'clock in front of City Hall. Greg Fruin will do his magic at 4 p.m. and there'll be events and vendors all day long on Queen Street. Moving on, communications and comments of the City Clerk. Item 1A, we've got the Stanford. Councillor Carrier moving 1A and 1B, which is relief from the noise bylaw, both for Blues in the Park at Fireman's Park and Here's Heroes at, is that at Oaks Park? At Oaks Park. So, yes, please. Seconded by Councillor Pietrangelo. We'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Mr. Clerk, are there any additional items for council?
Yes, Your Worship, there's a correspondence from Celebrate Old Downtown, similar to the other 2 requests you just dealt with, asking for relief on the noise bylaw for the event they have on June 30th. Also, they need to get the road closed even prior to the Canada Day for their June 30th activities as well, so requesting waiver of costs.
Okay, that's moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Pietrangelo. All those in favor? All right. Ratification of income. One more thing.
Also, just to bring to your attention that on the consent agenda, the report matters arising from Municipal Heritage Committee is being pulled.
And that is number 45. Okay, got it. Thank you. So you've pulled that. Do you need a motion for that, or we'll deal with it? Okay. Ratification of in-camera matters. Mr. Todd, are you going to speak to this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just would like to speak to one matter, just for the public and the press, regarding the Gale Center, and everybody may be aware that the Ministry of Environment, at our invitation, conducted an inspection at the Gale Center today. I'm happy to report that at the conclusion of that, the MOE has indicated that although there are several small leaks in the glycol system, which we knew, they have indicated that there is no safety concern at all to the environment, that any of the leaks are being contained and managed quite appropriately by our staff. They commented on our staff appropriately dealing with the issue, and we've also had our own health and safety consultant, OESN, which is the Ontario Environmental Safety Network, a local consulting firm that have gone into the building and done their own independent testing on our behalf, independent of the Ministry of Environment, and they have found the same conclusion, that any of the any risks to either patrons or our employees is just not there. Our employees are dealing with the situation. They've been dealing with these leaks for several months to assure the public that we are carrying out an RFP at some time in the future. We do have a meeting scheduled with the companies that did the work on July 2nd, and we promised to council that we'll be reporting back to them at our July 9th meeting. So that's the update. The Ministry of Environment themselves are getting their own statement out, and I think they'll be confirming that they will find no further involvement in the property, and that they found everything in complete order when they were at the Gale Center today. So that's all I had to report, Mr. Mayor, unless there's any questions.
Are there any questions on that from council? Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Do we need motion? Okay, we're good. Moving on to the consent agenda. Moved by Councillor Carrier, seconded by Councillor Mapes, that we move the consent agenda with the removal of PBD 2013-45. That's right. Yes, Councillor Gates.
3940, I'd like to have full, a couple questions.
39 and 40, okay? F 2013-39 and F 2013-40. We'll pull those two. Okay, so we'll call a vote for the remainder of the consent agenda. All those in favor? Okay, that's approved. First off, F 2013-39 General Insurance Report. Councillor Gates.
Thank you, Mayor Diodati. Yeah, a couple questions. When we take a look at the report on the insurance and how much, did we look for other quotes other than the one that's listed here?
Mr. Harrison?
No, not this year. We went out for a tender in 2011, and at that time, we only had two participants in the tender process, and it was felt at that time that we would go out again in 3 to 4 years. This is the third year of that tender, or that relates to that tender, and so we anticipate that we may go next year, but we didn't this year.
Okay, thank you. So we're satisfied with all the explanations that you've given in the report that the 4.13% increase is fair?
Yes, we met with the insurance company, and we feel that this is fair in light of our claims history. Again, our 10-year claim history seems to be working a little bit against us, but we are taking mitigating steps with the involvement of our risk manager, and we believe that in the future we'll have some positive outcomes, and we're moving in the right direction in this matter. It's within our budget allotment, and we're confident that it's as good a deal as we can get at this present time.
Okay, thank you. Other question is that when I take a look at the entire report, it talks about the environmental liability. Again, I was wondering with the situation at the Gale Center, with the leak that we had there. Take a look at on page 15, it talks about recreational affiliation. Again, I'm thinking that that may be an avenue for getting some of the money recouped for the Gale Center. And then I took a look at equipment breakdown, and it lists both the Gale Center and the Chippewa will be Memorial Arena as such. So hopefully, as we go through the process, if we have any issues with the contractors, that maybe our avenue, knowing full well that we do have a deductible, that maybe we'd be able to claim it on our insurance. There were no any questions on that.
Thanks. Okay, thank you. And then, yes, Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, I have the same question with respect to one-year contract with the existing individual. I know we had a very active participation a couple of years ago with a lot of people involved, and I think if you call for proposals for multi-year opportunities, that's when you really get the people out and take it seriously. I would want to see this again. If we're going to do it, I would suggest next year we call an RFP and for a multi-year contract to see if we can't get the cost down. Doing this is just we're at the mercy of the bidder.
You making that part of the motion?
Yeah, sure. If you've who made the motion?
Yeah, Councillor Gates, did you make?
I could certainly make a motion, and Councillor Thompson hopefully will second it. And
so that you're suggesting we accept the report.
That's right.
Report.
With an understanding is that next year that we'll get other quotes. Makes sense.
Okay. So moved by Councillor Gates, second by Councillor Thompson, the two Waynes. Double teaming on the motion. Playing team, we'll call a vote. All those in favor? All right. Same birthday, same mustache, same everything. You guys, I'll tell you. Brother from another mother, I think, or something like that. And Councillor Gates, F 2013-40 schedule.
I didn't hear that. Did you call me Brother Gates? I wasn't sure what you said over there.
Well, I said brother from another mother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just on the, again, it's on page 13 on the schedule for fees for service. And again, it's on the development fee. And when I take a look at our bylaws, 2009-120, that's I believe, the 5-year bylaw. I've raised this a number of times. We did get a report back where the report said that, our development charges are significantly discounted. I've asked this question before, how much money, are we talking there, when they say significantly discounted, but, I am looking forward to, having the, debate, on a go-forward basis on the development charges that, we are or aren't gonna charge on a go-forward basis, so I just wanted to highlight that I picked it up in the report.
Okay. Is there any, comment from, no? Okay. Okay, moved by Councillor Kerrio, second by Councillor Mays, that we move the recommendation. All those in favor? Okay, that's approved unanimously. Except we've got two resolutions before you.
Move the resolution.
Moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Mays, that we move the I'm sorry, Councillor Thompson?
We've only been waiting a year and a half, and I know the clerk brought it in because felt it was time. I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned about a resolution like this going to the province. What are they going to do with it? Throw it in the basket? Forget about it. I'm wondering if we can put a little more emphasis on this. I loved your suggestion last meeting when you were going to get the chairman of the assessment board or somebody appropriate down here to actually look, because this is a really unique and different situation that doesn't exist in most other municipalities, where we zone the area tourist commercial and then let it grow into development area for tourists. This is why we've ended up with all of these blighted areas. And if you could do that, and I think that, and we have the resources here, to have somebody go out and maybe even a video drive-by of the beautiful DoubleTree Hotel and some of the other blighted areas, and some pictures to go with our resolution to really put some meat into this, because if they just get this, they're just, it isn't going to happen. We're not going to get anywhere. So I think we have to have a lot of follow-up and getting somebody down here to view this personally, I think would really make the difference. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time. And it's a serious problem. And it's a serious, I think it's a serious problem with respect to what they are assessing these properties at. They're totally out of line for what the sale of the properties are. I don't know how they can justify what they're putting on these properties for assessment. The people who own them, insignificant little tear-down houses, and they're paying $6,000 taxes. It's unbelievable. So anyway, I hope we can do that.
Well, I'll bring it to speed. Actually, ironically, I did reach out to the chair of MPAC, Dan Matheson, who's also the mayor of Stratford, and the timing was perfect because the whole MPAC board was in Niagara Falls, as it turned out, for a conference last week. Yes. So on Thursday, after regional council, myself and Serge Felicetti met with them, drove them around, showed them, then met with them afterwards. We had the discussion. It was great because they were staying at the DoubleTree and they were at Krabby Joe's. So they walked by it all. So they completely saw it, they completely got it, and they made some suggestions that Serge is bringing back to staff on another approach, and they are going to help us because he said ultimately it's up to the Minister of Finance, is what he said. And so they're going to help us. He said they completely understood the dilemma. They said it made perfect sense, and they're going to help us come forward with a couple of plans. But they thought there's one plan within our control here that we can address through CIP, site-specific CIP. And so Serge is sharing that with planning, and we might have an in-house solution at the same time. So the timing of our last meeting and bringing it up was perfect.
I wish you had told us that before. That's wonderful information, and thanks for doing that. And I had down there, even giving us the opportunity, even if we have to take a little bit of a hit, and the CIP is probably a great opportunity to do it. So anyway, positive news.
Yeah, it was good. So in the meantime, on this resolution, are we still?
Yeah, the resolution, actually, I don't know if
Council Tupman said, the last be it resolved, but it does talk about getting the impact people here, and then part of our process after we go over council review is obviously, you know, strategic as far as getting the information out. I've actually gone around taking pictures, which, and we actually have a meeting scheduled, internally as staff tomorrow.
Oh, great, excellent, so it's moving forward. Councilor Pietrangelo? No. Oh, yeah, no, okay. So we do have a motion, seconded, to move both, so the one resolution being the Assessment Act petition, to the province of Ontario, and the second one being the alcohol sales at Oak Park for Heaters Heroes in August. Okay, so it's been moved by Councilor Pietrangelo, second by Councilor Mays. We'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, excellent. Now we're on to the bylaws. Moved by Councilor Pietrangelo, second by Councilor Mays, that we give the bylaws the first reading. All those in favor?
Bylaws 2013-105 to 2013-107, read a first time.
Second and third.
Motion by Councilor Pietrangelo, second by Councilor Mays, that we give the bylaws a second and third reading. All those in favor?
Bylaws 2013-105 to 2013-107, read a second and third time and passed.
Excellent. New business. Councilor Mays.
Yeah, Your Worship, I think we all had another email about Portage Road and the speed bumps. I also had another person inquire asking about them, and it seems the speed bumps are kind of an aggravation. I'm just wondering if there's anything on that report, perhaps Ms. Garrett can fill us in on what's happening there.
Ms. Garrett?
Through the Mayor, Chairman, through the Mayor, yes, we do have a report tentatively scheduled for the next council meeting for July 9th.
Okay, any idea, like, I think that it appears they'd like the speed bumps removed and more stop signs put in, right? That might be the solution, because, I mean, stopping will stop a lot of that rattling and that bumping and that's caused by the speed bumps, so, now that's good, we're gonna have that next meeting?
Yes.
Super, thank you.
Great, excellent. Councilor Morocco.
Just a quick, actually, I'd like to wish my daughter, Lisa, a happy birthday today, and my mom a happy birthday for tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday to both of you. Councilor Pietrangelo.
We're wishing happy birthday. This is my daughter's 7th birthday.
Happy birthday. I'd also like to mention tomorrow, remind council, tomorrow at 11:30, we're going to have the billboard unveiling event tomorrow morning, 11:30 at the corner of Lions Creek Road and Montrose Road. All council's invited, the doctor's invited, the community's invited, as we're going to, well, what we're going to do, two things. Number one, we've never ever formally publicly acknowledged in person the Grassel family who donated the land for the new hospital worth millions of dollars. It's never happened. They were out of the country at the time doing development, but we're going to have the brother and sister who now run the company will be here tomorrow for that. Also, we will be acknowledging Dr. Smith's report. His report chooses that site as the next site of the Niagara South Hospital, and I think it'll be a great chance for us to let the province know that we are ready. We're ready to move forward for better health care, and we encourage everybody to be there. Help us out. It'll be very brief. We don't anticipate it going much more than half an hour, and hopefully the weather will cooperate as well. All this week it's looking every day 40% chance of everything. So everything but snow. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on the weather.
Did you invite the local MPPs?
Yes, the local MPPs are invited and will be there. There'll be lots of doctors there. As a matter of fact, too, we've had some philanthropists want to come forward. They're very excited to make donations from all over the region to get this moving forward. So we've got a lot of interest. We've had dialogue with the Ministry of Health and the Premier's office, so they're well aware of what we're doing. And the other thing I would like to point out, the billboard that's gone up was not done with any of our tax dollars. That was all done with donated supplies and services by local businesses. So they donated the supplies, they did the installation, and we're very proud of the fact that the community is very much behind that, and we look forward to seeing everybody there tomorrow at 11:30. Oh yeah, all politicians have been invited, that's right. Any other comments? No? We're looking for, yes, Councilor Thompson, motion for adjournment? Yes, Councilor Pietrangelo. Oh, not quite yet, Councilor. Yes, Councilor.
The letter that just came out, Your Worship, I just want to pass it on to staff, make a motion that it be referred to staff, and that staff come back with a report.
Okay. Motion by Councilor Pietrangelo, second by Councilor Wing, that the letter be forwarded on to staff. Yeah, no second, no. All those in favor? Okay, it's approved. And, yes, Councilor Pietrangelo.
Your Worship, any movement on the OLG agreement?
I haven't had discussion, maybe Mr. Harrison.
From what I understand is that the agreement is going to be sent to us, later this week, and staff will have an opportunity to review it, and there'll be a meeting set up within a couple of weeks after that. That's the most I know right now. So we may be in an opportune position to update you at the next council meeting.
By the next council meeting? Okay, and Your Worship, first week of July as well is the deadline for the record of site condition. Do we know if there's been any more meetings between the region, SciTech, and the leasing of the property?
I want to, Mr. Todd,
I can just indicate that since our last meeting, we've had a couple of meetings with the lessee to discuss, proposals to go forward, but we're just kind of waiting till the record of site conditions complete to have any more dealings with SciTech, but we certainly have had discussions with the lessee.
Okay.
We're good? Is there, yes, Councilor Mayor? Motion for adjournment. Oh, wait, he likes to wait till
I
someone
knew
makes
I
a
had
motion.
another question, I just couldn't remember it. The report that came out from the region in terms of taking over entirely water and wastewater management in the region, are we gonna get a copy of that report, or are we gonna get something from that? Because I can't imagine that we would be in favor of the region controlling that.
And that's been deferred at the region until probably September, but
Just quickly, through you, Mr. Mayor, our staff position and council's position, the last report we had here, our position hasn't changed, that we weren't in agreement with it, that we felt there was too many issues of giving up development rights and things of that nature. So our position really hasn't changed, but we'll certainly, as we need, we can bring something back to council.
Okay. Have we tried to have discussions with other municipalities to, I guess, alert them of the possible downfalls of what's to happen should the region gain control over water and wastewater?
I can tell you, Councilor, this item has been on the area CEOs get together, and this has been on the agenda probably for the last 3 or 4 meetings. I can tell you almost unanimously, the CEOs from the municipalities are saying, why are you doing this? Nobody's going to be in support of it. The region just keeps pushing it. So we just don't understand why they're doing that. So.
Yeah, and I just get worried, Your Worship, I guess through you to Mr. Todd, because I hear the mayor of St. Catharines on the radio talking highly about going down that road. So.
And remember, they need exactly. They need a triple majority, so the odds of that are extremely rare. But good point, and we will